Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
The Bills took care of business against the Dolphins. Also, an important Big 12 clash gets things started on a massive college football Saturday. And the Arizona Cardinals have a chance to start the season 3-0 this weekend. I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
The Buffalo Bills, they took care of the Dolphins on Thursday night. Locked On Bills host Joe Marino celebrated the dub.
The Buffalo Bills defeated the Miami Dolphins 31-21 and improved to 3-0 on the season. It was a hard-fought win. The Dolphins didn't come to town and roll over. The Bills had to earn it. It was really pretty at times, and at other times it was not. But the Bills made the Dolphins pay for some critical mistakes and came away with a 10-point win. 3-0. It's a good spot to be, folks. So we'll do what we do here on these post-game reaction shows. I'll give you the things that I liked. We'll talk about the things that I didn't like, and we'll touch on what's next for the Bills and this podcast. When it comes to things that I liked, I'd like to begin with Josh Allen. 22 of 28, 213 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, had 4 runs for 25 yards. I thought he was so sharp mentally in this game. And I thought he did a masterful job of taking what the defense gave him. I think there's going to be some frustrations out there that maybe the Bills' passing game wasn't more aggressive down the field, or that they couldn't really take advantage of a very underwhelming Dolphins secondary. But I thought Josh Allen was masterful when it came to the mental side of this game. Early on, there were some opportunities, and I thought the Bills did well to take advantage of some opportunities, but eventually the Dolphins just played soft shell zone defense, right? Like a lot of cover 2, maybe a good amount of cover 4. Point being is flooding zones, keeping a roof on top of the defense, and taking away big play opportunities down the field. And I thought Josh did a wonderful job of taking what the defense gave him, not forcing anything, staying patient, being mature. And you're watching this game play out, and if you're aware of how Miami's spacing the field and how they're playing defense, you know that the Bills would need a yards after catch play to move the ball and get the points that they needed to get out of that game with a win. And whether it was the catch and run by Dalton Kincaid, a couple of catch and runs by Dalton Kincaid, or, of course, the Khalil Shakir touchdown late to put the Bills ahead, they knew what they needed to get done. And then when Josh was needing a big completion, more down the field, thought he did a very good job of moving within the pocket, keeping his eyes down the field, and then letting guys declare themselves available in zone and taking the pitch and catch opportunities like you saw with the Elijah Moore completion late in the game. So, yeah, maybe you thought that Josh Allen would throw the ball for 1,000,000 yards and 1,000,000 touchdowns against the Dolphins because their defense is no good. And in some ways, that's absolutely true. But looking at how Miami played this game, I thought that Josh was really mature and made good decisions with the football. And obviously, you're talking about a Bills offense that scored 31 points and won the game by 10. I think he did the smart right thing and didn't do anything on his behalf that put Miami in a position where they could capitalize off of a Bills mistake. It was the exact opposite. The Bills capitalized off of Dolphins mistakes. 3 really fun touchdowns. The first one to Dalton Kincaid looks like Josh was able to step up in the pocket and hit Dalton in the honey hole in a cover 2 look. Nice catch and run. Heck of a play by Josh and Dalton Kincaid. Then you get the Jackson Hawes flick, right? Josh Allen gets outside of structure to the left, and he's kind of got an opportunity to either run it in or flick it. And Rasul Douglas, I think, was the outside corner, kind of stays over top of Josh, and that opens a window for Josh to flick it for Jackson Hawes' first ever touchdown, which was a cool play. And then late in the game, you get the Khalil Shakir touchdown that, I don't know that was a high degree of difficulty throw for Josh Allen, but understanding the circumstance, getting the ball into the hands of your best yards after catch player, when you know that's what you're going to need based on the defense that was presented to you. Shakir with the big catch and run, and, hat tip to Dalton Kincaid and Tyrell Shavers for some big blocks on that scoring play. So Josh, 3 touchdowns, 213 yards passing, 25 yards rushing. Very efficient game. Very efficient game. I thought it was the type of game he needed to play under those circumstances. Dalton Kincaid continues to show up, 5 catches on 6 targets for 66 yards and a touchdown. And he could have had 3 touchdowns in this game. You would love for him to, it was only 1 target that he didn't get a catch on. And it was the kind of deeper throw into the back of the end zone. And that safety got his hand in there late. You'd love to see Dalton just, win that ball, but good route, good throw by Josh. Unfortunately, that one was incomplete, but 5 really good plays from Dalton in terms of passing game contributions. Some big catch and run. He made a big impact in this game. How about Elijah Moore? Had 1 rush for 11 yards, 2 catches for 30 yards, and it was all very timely, just like it was last week for Elijah Moore. His catch, it was 2nd and 16 there at the end of the game. He had the huge catch, finding a spot in zone, becoming available. Josh climbs, gets him the football, catch and run, and get a first down. I mean, you're behind the sticks, 2nd and 16. You needed a first down, get out of there with a win, and Elijah Moore was a big part of that. He's been extremely clutch. It's funny. I mean, Elijah Moore has become the player you thought Curtis Samuel was going to become. And obviously the Bills will need to sort that piece out at some point, but it's nice to see him carving out a role and it being meaningful. Even Tyrell Shavers with a couple of catches in this game that resulted in first downs. Khalil Shakir, 4 catches, 45 yards, and a touchdown. The go-ahead touchdown that the Bills needed late in the game. It's good to see that, right? See him make some clutch plays and do his yards after the catch thing.
You can stay up to date all year on the Buffalo Bills by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Bills on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. You're Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, Texas Tech has a huge test this weekend against Utah. Before we get to that, South Carolina might be getting its QB back before an important road game. The NFL season is finally here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for the weekend with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however I like to bet in the moment, whether it's a prop, whether it's a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to Sunday. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. South Carolina quarterback Lenoris Sellers looks like he's trending toward a return this weekend against Missouri. Sellers left last week's game against Vanderbilt with a concussion after a late hit that knocked him out of what ended up being a blowout loss to the Commodores. Sellers has been limited in practice this week, but was back on the field Thursday, giving Gamecocks fans hopes their star QB and preseason Heisman contender will be ready under the lights Saturday night. Sellers has piled up nearly 500 yards and 3 touchdowns through 3 games, and his return would, of course, be a massive boost as South Carolina enters the teeth of its SEC schedule. Over on the diamond, the Dodgers started a huge 4-game series against the Giants.
Relationships that you've had, it's not really anybody's fault. It just hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. When Justin Verlander wasn't pitching as well, the Giants needed it, and the Giants maybe did give him a little bit more offense. Justin Verlander turned it on, and the Giants haven't been able to give him what he's needed to get those W's. They won last night, and I'm sure Justin Verlander's happy, but he's thinking, brother, I just went out there and pitched 7 shutout innings, and I have nothing to show for it. I don't know how many more tosses I have left in this arm. That's it. So he is between the bullpen as well. It's not even just the hitting, whether it's the hitting, whether it's the bullpen, this stuff that has erased the brilliance that we have seen from Justin Verlander from time to time. I'm not saying he's been like this all season long. Don't get me wrong. It has left him with fewer wins than his performances deserve. He's a future Hall of Famer chasing a historic milestone, and it's just not going to cut it. So I think that Justin Verlander will have some options this winter, and it's not hard to imagine that contenders with deeper lineups and steadier bullpens will be lining up to give him a better crack at those last 35 wins. And maybe he doesn't get it, but he's going to look back at the season and think, I should be under 30 wins left, and maybe I would have been able to pull it off.
And the Mets got a much-needed win over the D-backs.
A huge series victory for the New York Mets against the Padres, and some real redemption for rookie starting pitcher Jonah Tong. This is Ryan Finkelstein, the host of Locked On Mets, and we just saw a really great game by the Mets to finish off their series against the Padres. Pete Alonso got the Mets on the board with a solo homer, his fourth straight game hitting a home run, picked up his 120th RBI this season. Jonah Tong gave up one run early on a sacrifice fly, but that is all, and the Mets had a huge inning where Brandon Nimmo's 3-run homer really broke open the game, and Tong took it from there. 5 innings, struck out 8. So huge strikeout numbers for Tong, 8 of 15 outs coming via the strikeout. 7 of those 8 strikeouts coming on the fastball. It was great to see him on attack mode. And all of a sudden, once again, his name gets entered in this conversation as a guy that could continue to make some big starts for the Mets down the stretch. I talked about it on the live stream, breaking down Jonah Tong's performance and what it means for his role moving forward. Now we got to see what the Mets can do against the Nationals over the weekend as they look to hopefully start to build a cushion in this NL wildcard race.
The Texas Tech Red Raiders spent a pretty penny on their roster this offseason, and their first true test rolls into town this Saturday. Drake Toll previewed Tech's matchup with the Utah Utes on the latest episode of Fire TV's College Football Kickoff.
The game of the week here on College Football Kickoff is presented by Coca-Cola. He's got the only tuxedo in Lubbock, Casey Cowan of Locked On Texas Tech, and you could use a hat for that. JT Wistrcill of Locked On Utes. Casey, it's our game of the week because it's a top 20 matchup, not just in the Big 12, but with the entire country looking at a 10 a.m. local time kick. Does that factor into this game? A night game in Salt Lake would be very different.
Yeah, no question. We were not upset to hear that news, obviously, in Lubbock, and great to be with you guys. Thanks for having me. The kickoff time does not make the team, so if you're counting on kickoff times to get you through a season, you're not going to wind up where you want to be. But we've heard a lot about that home environment for Utah, and an all-day opportunity to get lathered up, we know very well in Lubbock, is advantageous to the home team. So, yeah, I'm not mad at some breakfast football.
JT, the schedule hasn't been daunting for either of these teams yet, but for Utah, 8th in points per game allowed, 13th in yards per game allowed. This defense is elite.
The defense absolutely is elite. They have the nation's sack leader right now, John Henry Daly, coming off the edge. Secondary that's loaded with talent as well, too. It's a top 10 defense, as you mentioned, Drake. They've been really fun to watch so far this season. I know they're excited to play a legit team as well, have a chance to make a statement with the nation watching. Big noon kickoff there. Fox there as well. It's just going to be an awesome opportunity for this Utah team and the Big 12 as a whole, as they are your guys' game of the week, too.
Casey, Baron Morton just threw another touchdown pass. Is that the difference in this game?
No, I don't think so. I'd flip to the other side of the line of scrimmage for Texas Tech defensively and their ability to try to contain or limit, obviously, what Utah is able to do so well on the ground, starting with their quarterback. And that's really where the test comes, I think, for Texas Tech to find out if you truly have renovated into a different type of program. Can you compete in the trenches? That story can play out as well, I think, with Tech's offensive line and protecting Baron Morton and maybe taking advantage of what some perceive as a matchup in favor of Texas Tech as it relates to some passing game and skill position players and that Utah secondary. I don't know, but to me, the focus is all about what we feel like is a remodeled Texas Tech defensive front, and they're facing obviously a ground game for Utah that's going to give us by far the best opportunity to measure that progress.
JT, same question for you, but we flip it. Is Devin Dampier the X factor? Then give me a final score prediction.
I think he is. I think you look at what he's been able to do so far this season, you have to be impressed. Last season at New Mexico, he had 1,000 yards rushing and 2,500 yards passing. Just a tremendous highlight player. He was the only quarterback with those numbers. I think he's going to have a day for Utah here. Morton as well, in his 3 games he's played, the last few on the road against top 25 teams, he's thrown 5 interceptions in those games. So an opportunity for Utah to get after it. I think they do. I think Utah wins a fantastic game, in part because of Devin Dampier's performance. 28-27. I'll roll with the home team, the Utah Utes.
Casey, that is a Texas Tech cover, but a loss in JT's playbook. What's the final score if we ask you?
28-17. The Red Raiders are going to continue a trend of making progress on the road. It's been a bit of a booger in the Joey McGuire era, but posted their first winning record as a team last year away from Jones Stadium. I think Texas Tech may be for real in the trenches, and if they are a winner. 28-17.
Stay up to date all year on college football by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On College Football on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Plus, make sure to check out College Football Kickoff over on Fire TV. Coming up, the 49ers are still without Brock Purdy, and now they're home dogs against the Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals can get off to a 3-0 start if they can take down the 49ers on Sunday. Locked On 49ers host Brian Peacock sat down with Locked On Cardinals host Alex Clancy to preview what could be, and maybe should be, a very close NFC West battle.
So Calais Campbell doing Calais Campbell-y things so far early with the Arizona Cardinals, got a couple sacks. Talk to me about the defensive line rotation, and if that's an area where the Cardinals could potentially have an advantage against the 49ers offensive line with a banged up Hall of Famer in Trent Williams, and then, some up and down play throughout the line and a rookie left guard in Connor Colby. Looks like he's going to start with Ben Bartch injured this week.
Yeah, it's a lot of everything. So starting with the not so great first, Darius Robinson is one of the 10 worst graded interior defensive linemen in the NFL through 2 weeks. I think he's 134 out of 148, 138 out of 148, something like that. Dante Stills, very unknown, like not a household name, was a 6th round pick a couple of years ago. He's been the best interior defensive lineman the Cardinals have had up until this season. He's playing well. And then you have Dalvin Tomlinson, a big body up front, one of the better run stuffers we've seen over the last 6 or 7 years. And yeah, Calais Campbell's doing his best LeBron James impersonation. Like, the dude just he's as jovial about the game as he was when he came into the league. Like, everybody loves Calais Campbell, 6'8", 300 and whatever pounds. He's one of the best interviews. He's got a great voice. Like, the dude is just great. And, he had a couple sacks. He ended the game last week. Not only is this defensive line exponentially better than what it's been the last couple of years, and that's pretty obvious, throwing in Josh Sweat, Baron Browning are both ranked highly coming off the edge. Rushing forward, even though they're not getting home, it's doing the job. And I know it's against 2 teams who aren't the best. I know the sack numbers aren't fantastic, but Jonathan Gannon doesn't care about sack numbers. He cares about getting the ball. And the Cardinals, had a strip sack for a touchdown last week. They had an interception on the next drive. This is a more than serviceable defensive line. And I think we're going to see both sides, Brian. This is the coming out party. This is it. This is when the season starts. All the cobwebs are off. No more secrets. We're going to throw everything out. And then we're going to see what more hobbled team is going to reign supreme. And I don't think this game is going to be close. I just don't know which way it's going to go yet.
Yeah, for the Cardinals, it feels like that college schedule where you had the non-conference stuff. You had Alabama A&M, and you had Ball State, and then all of a sudden, okay, now we're going to jump into that conference action. We have a big time matchup this week, so that's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a popcorn game for me, and learn a little bit about these Arizona Cardinals. I had a lot of good things to say about the Arizona Cardinals coming into the year too. So a couple of unbeatens, and of course, knocking off your division opponents is a really good way to go win your division. Are the Cardinals ready for prime time? One of the key matchups to me in the paths to victory is. And I think this is part of, playing a lot of that zone defense for Robert Saleh and the 49ers is getting better against athletic quarterbacks, because it's been an Achilles heel for the 49ers defenses for a while. And they've got speed at linebacker, D Winters and Fred Warner, probably the most athletic pair of linebackers in the NFL right now. And it's been amazing to watch number 53, D Winters out there doing his best Dre Greenlaw impression. And that was one of the big losses for the 49ers. And I'm hearing from Broncos fans are like, man, this is rough because Drake Greenlaw can't get on the field because he's constantly hurt. And all of a sudden the 49ers go develop another one. And Robert Saleh is the linebacker whisperer, seeing these guys fly around, all the beef I talked about that they have up front. And it's going to be huge because you got to keep Kyler Murray at bay. Can't let him go make big plays and maybe hope he makes some mistakes. And I'd probably ask you, are we seeing a new Kyler Murray? Is he taking more steps, or is he just kind of the same guy that we've seen in recent years?
All you want is the B to B plus version of him. Like, Brian, the reason why I struggle with this, and every day is like Locked On Cardinals listeners know this. Like I say, I struggle with this. When he's at his absolute peak, only 5 quarterbacks can do that. 7, 6. He's a bona fide top 7 or 8 quarterback at his absolute peak. And then at his valley, he's a bottom 7.
Brock Purdy and maybe 4 more, right?
Yeah. Okay. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah. That's, you know what? You took the words right out. If you want to co-host Locked On Cardinals too, I think we get along.
I was just trying to count. I was like, okay, well, Brock and Lamar, obviously, and then maybe there's a couple more guys.
Yeah, I think that's about it. And then just Kyler. I think that's it. That's completely rational. The last time Kyler Murray was on the Levi Stadium field, he housed it from 45 or 50, knew right away that it was gone. Like, we've talked on this crossover for 8 years now. So that's a lot of shows. Every single time since 2019, you've said the 49ers struggle with mobile quarterbacks, and it hasn't waned. With Kyler Murray, his floor is higher than it has been. He's got a better defense. He's got the best skill position players, the best offensive line he's had. He's been very efficient. He's thrown the ball very well. And he had that weird interception in Carolina, but like, this could be the best, most competent football from a floor standpoint than we've seen. It's not about the ceiling in 2025. It's only about the floor and winning games. And so far, so good, even though the opponents haven't been fantastic.
Yeah, kind of a middle of the field game, too, the way I'm looking at it, just because the Cardinals are a team that, and we know how the 49ers offense operates. They want to be balanced. They want to be able to run the football. A lot of aggressively intermediate throws, I call it, over the middle of the football field. And for the Cardinals, they want to run the ball. You got a hammer in Connor. You got the speed in Benson. You got a quarterback that can extend plays. And you've got one of the better tight ends in the NFL that needs to be covered by linebackers and safeties. And so I would put both linebackers out there. Fred Warner, highest graded, I think, linebacker in the NFL right now. No surprise, playing. He was Defensive Player of the Year type stuff last year before he broke his ankle, and he just looks the same again this year. And then you got the rookie Marcus Siegel at safety as well with Jason Pinnock that have to maintain over the top when Kyler Murray gets out on the move and have to come down and run support and have to cover, that tight end. So I think that's really the area of the field that this game is going to be won and lost. It's a middle of the field football game. And I like the Niners linebackers, young secondary. We'll see how they hold up.
And finally, Justin Verlander refuses to let Father Time win quietly. The 42-year-old future Hall of Famer endured a brutal stretch this season with the Giants, 16 straight starts without a victory, the longest drought in team history. But lately, he's flipped the script, giving up just 3 runs across his last 5 outings while lowering his ERA to 3.75. Verlander says he's found something new in the bullpen, and the results back him up. Now with 265 career wins and 1 shy of Bob Feller on the all-time list, he's eyeing a return in 2026 at age 43. No plans to retire for now. Verlander still focused on chasing history. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, we take a look back at the weekend that was in football. So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.